Oskaloosa City Council to order. Happy New Year. Today is Tuesday, January 3rd of 2023. We start with the invocation from First Assembly of God.
Thank you for the invitation and allowing me to pray tonight. Heavenly Father, as we begin this new year, this council gathers to deal with the business of our city. And I thank you, Father, that they are willing to serve. They're willing to step up and do what others will not do. I pray that you'll give them wisdom. I pray that you'll give them insight. I pray your blessings upon them as they do what is best for our city. We thank you for Oskaloosa. We thank you, Father God, and we pray your blessings upon our community. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Almond. Here. Burnett.
Here.
Caligari.
Here.
Comfort. Drost.
Here.
Hermson. Here. Ocean. Here.
Okay. Moving on, first thing on our agenda is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included in the current agenda. The community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so that way concerns can be properly researched and perhaps answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Okay.
Sorry about throwing that cat.
Yep, that's fine. Name and address, please.
Earl Ramirez.
Okay.
And 2221 Lundana Lane.
Okay.
First, thank you guys. I appreciate the time you're taking again. This situation. I appreciate you. What I'm trying to do is the old Whittier School me and my wife purchased a couple years ago, and it was a daycare. That has closed down now. My wife is retired. We own a large chunk of property there with a daycare business, and I don't want to see it turn into an ugly eyesore for the community, because no one's really going to probably buy it. And there's a lot of use in that building that we try to take advantage of to help people and get them going in the right direction they want to go. There was a mistake to start with. The people kind of thought it was going to be a bar. It is not going to be a bar. It's a golf instruction place. I have a full, one of the top of the line golf simulators that you can buy on the market. And I'm hoping to go with a chipping simulator, a putting simulator, and I also have already purchased a archery simulator to hunt boar and bear and whatever. I don't go hunt, but my son does. So we're trying to get it rezoned, and I mean no harm to the community. I've lived here now for 24 years. My children went to the schools here. My youngest daughter actually went to Whittier School. We care, and I am not trying to ruin the community. I know a few of the people in the neighborhood, and they're nice people, and I wouldn't want to have to look them in the eyes and be that guy. So I really don't know if anybody's got any questions. I'd love to answer. I don't know. I have some flyers. Would it be okay to hand some of these out?
Well, it would be. We already have you on the agenda for later on. And so this time of the meeting, everybody's limited to 3 minutes.
Okay.
It's unlimited if we wait until the regular agenda, and then we can get into it deeper.
Sounds great. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else? Yes, please. Name and address, please.
My name is Julie Wells. My address is 401 21st Avenue West in Oskaloosa. I also own Julie's Homestyle Cafe at 216 South Market. I come before you this evening. Some of you are already aware that I would like to speak about the issue of parking, in particular city vehicles that take up parking spaces that I believe are intended for public use. Since the office that's in the basement, I'm not exactly sure which city office that is. Since that has been here, we've had city vehicles that are parked in the lot. The lot is behind my cafe and adjacent to the fire station. There's generally about 3 of those vehicles that are parked there continuously. Sometimes they're moved from space to space, but that's irrelevant to me really, even though there should be a 72-hour parking ordinance. I just feel like this is an issue for me as a business owner, and I think to the general public for the city. Those spaces when the fire station, before the renovation happened, we were concerned about the parking lot being taken out. We were advised that there would be parking spaces. Those parking spaces would be intended for public use. You know, not all the parking would be taken out. And since then, since the office has moved here, at least, like I said, 3 of those spaces are taken pretty much all the time. So I'd like to just present that. I don't know if the city council can do something to help us with that.
Well, typically, this would be referred over to the city manager's office for further consideration and then a recommendation to the council.
Okay.
Have you talked to anybody yet, Julie, about it before this?
And my husband spoke with Ron.
I talked to Trevor, and so I did some legwork on this before I called them all, and I talked to them all about it last week. I went and talked to, the chief was there, Mark Tennyson, one of the firefighters. I wanted to find out what really happened. He said that Schrock had come down and told them there was a water department building there. Steve, you remember that? When they tore that down, that parking was going to be left for residents and business owners. And Mark said, as a matter of fact, I think you were there, Chief. He said no one was supposed to park there. Do you understand me? He said yes. He said because there is such limited parking that it was for, like I said, for business owners and renters. And I did a little more checking, and I talked to Mark Tennyson because the chief has obviously not been here that long, and he said the same thing. He thought that when the engineering department was brought down to the basement, those parking spaces were not occupied by any of the city vehicles. They were, she's got some elderly people that like to park back there, I was told, and cut through the alley. There's some tenants above. The flower shop, there's some tenants, anyway, so they were told, Mark said he was told, and they were told that those were to be left, to be unoccupied, unless you're a business owner or a renter, so.
And if the tenants don't have a space to park off the road, then they're going to park on the road. And with the parking restrictions that the city currently has, my business, being that it opens so early and closes in the early afternoon, the parking restrictions do not help. So somebody can park outside all day long, and there's nothing I can do. I have no recourse. This 3-hour parking limit doesn't start till 9 a.m. It doesn't do me any good. So giving the tenants another place to park, if it's not my customers, then or somebody else's customers, would be beneficial.
Mayor, may I comment on
Sure.
that? When we built the fire station, because there was, like you said, a parking lot behind there. In fact, we lost about half of it. When we did that, built the fire station, we was informed that parking will be there, not as many, and that was for public use. It wasn't designated for anybody. It was just public use like before. So you're right. I've been seeing the same thing, but that whole parking area is public use. And then plus we have city parking across the street by Elks, is it? Yeah. Does it look so great? I know, but I also agree too what you mentioned about the 3-hour parking. We have residents living downtown, and if they don't park by the mall area or across the street, I don't know, that maybe something we can come up with in regards to people who live downtown that have to park, on the street where the 3-hour markings are. Maybe some sort of registration. I don't know, something.
Chief,
come up
can you
with
say
something.
there is something they can, because I talked to Chief too.
I believe there is something in the ordinance currently for residents that live in the
Okay.
downtown square area. And when I talked to my Shrek about it, he says he's never had anyone apply for it since he had been here.
Okay.
So, but back to what you was talking about, that is supposed to be just public use parking. For the
Right.
public, yeah.
I truly am not trying to be difficult. I just,
No,
no,
as a
no,
owner and,
no.
and, you know, and parking in our city is an issue. It is
Yep.
difficult at times, and so I just
Yep.
feel like this would be a fair,
Mhm.
and it is what we were told when, prior to the fire station coming in,
Mhm.
which, you know,
So is this more of a communication issue maybe? Because it was
think
something,
so.
it sounds like to me to some degree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that.
Yeah.
Your Honor, we'll have to do a parking study to see City Hall needs as well as the business needs, and I would like for them to submit an official request, and we'll consider even if we have to dedicate parking spots and or assisting for registration or permitting to allow the residents time frame and also the transient 1 hours.
Okay.
But for now, no city park vehicles should be in those spots.
We have city vehicles, city owned, so they park here overnight.
they're parked, if they're not used during the day, they're parked there all day.
So
So it is.
where were
not
they
just
at?
overnight.
They were down at the south.
If you go down right now, you'll see you'll see 3 spaces.
No, but I mean, so this is I'm guessing somewhat of a recent phenomena in the last,
No, really, it's
South D.
been ongoing.
okay.
I just have not taken my time to come up here.
Yeah.
This is not the first time I've stood before you in reference to parking in the downtown, and
Yeah.
I hate to sound like, you know, a squeaky wheel,
Yeah.
but
You're okay.
Need
I
some
don't remember.
grease?
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, so you can come as many times as you want. All right. So,
You're not alone. I've heard others make
Well, and
comments
I
about
just want to say,
parking.
I did talk to a couple other business owners who had been here for a while, and they were under the same understanding as Julie was, that those, because they were taking the parking out, that those parking spaces would be for residents
so I
and
was under the
business.
impression. So where you park, I've seen you walk over to your truck, and you walk over there too, right? They were talking about the Elks or something. So I just thought
We're
that's
talking
what I was.
about the trucks, the engineering trucks and
And why
city-
can't they be parked somewhere else other than behind there?
City-owned, though.
City owned, so we
I
keep
understand
them
that.
here. Otherwise, they'll have to be at the shop. We don't have a place to store them.
I don't understand why they can't park
The city
by the
parking lot.
Elks or
Sounds
down
like the city's problem.
on that road.
That's something we have to hash out, I think.
If it's a public lot.
But Chief did say that anyone, I know Trevor had told me he'd gotten a ticket, anyone is subject to a 72-hour ticket down there, correct?
Yes, anywhere on the street or in city public lots, unless it's marked 18 hours.
Right.
Generally, the 18-hour would be for a city lot, and it could be 72 hours anywhere in the city.
Okay.
We'll fix it.
Okay, I appreciate
We'll see.
that.
I mean, something's going to happen. I don't know what yet, but we'll talk about it. But something will happen. So, I have a tough. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but I have a tough time understanding why we have to park those vehicles. I get that they're call them company vehicles, call them whatever you want, but I mean, I come from a retail world where it drives me crazy when some of our business owners park in front of their business in our community.
Right.
I'm thinking, what are you doing?
Right.
And it's their business, so I guess they can do whatever they want, but they should be parked like when we had malls, when I was in retail malls, you had to park clear to the outside of the mall. That was just a requirement so the customers could park closer to the mall.
Yeah.
Same situation here as far as I'm concerned. That's the world I
Yeah.
grew up in, so that's what we need to do.
And when you
So-
take those spaces, then you take spaces away from
Customers.
people. I mean, it just
No, I understand.
disperses.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, so
Right.
I'm not sure everybody else agrees with me, but
agree.
I'm on your side on this one, so.
I
yeah.
appreciate your time this evening.
I mean,
if
Hy-Vee
I need
does that.
anything else-
Yeah.
Park
Thanks,
on-
Julie.
Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thanks for coming. Quite frankly, I'm sorry you had to come, but it is what it is.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Next up is the adoption of the consent agenda. Things I wanted to draw to your attention is item D, where we have the appointments of the mayor pro tem and appointments to various boards and commissions, keeping everything the same as what it was last year. Item F is a resolution fixing the date of January 17th of 2023 for a public hearing on a proposal to enter into a development agreement with Christner Properties. Do we have a motion of support for the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Getting into the regular agenda, item A, this is to consider an application to rezone property located at 604 North B Street from R2 Urban Family Residential District to UC, which is Mixed Use Urban Corridor District. It is the first reading. There's a public hearing involved. So, Earl and Belinda Ramirez submitted a request to rezone the property at 604 North B Street from R2 Urban Family Residential District to UC Mixed Use Urban Corridor District. The property measures 260 foot by 260 foot, contains a former elementary school, Whittier, church, and until this summer, a child daycare center. The building is mostly vacant. Summarized review findings for the proposed rezoning include that, number one, the proposed rezoning is inconsistent with the new plan, OSKI Comprehensive Plan. The plan states the subject property and vicinity is recommended for medium-density residential future land use. New commercial uses should not be introduced to a residential neighborhood. The review chart indicates a compatibility rating 2, which is a significant conflict, and creating new conflicts should be avoided. The plan also states the proposed uses are typically situated in established commercial areas on arterial or collector streets, which can accommodate the added traffic and direct vehicles away from residential areas. Number 2, the proposed rezoning is inconsistent with the existing land use pattern, could result in significant business encroachment into the neighborhood. Number 3, the change could impact traffic and neighborhood character due to increased business activity, so customers, deliveries, employees, and the extended operating hours. Number 4, the UC zoning district would present an opportunity for other incompatible uses such as auto sales or services, convenience stores, lodging, retail, etc. And number 5, the change would constitute spot zoning, which is singling out a zoning change for a sole benefit of a owner and contrary to the comprehensive plan. So, at the December 6th meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing and voted unanimously to recommend denial of the proposed rezoning to the City Council. Staff concurs with the recommendation and offered to meet with the applicants to discuss the uses which could be accommodated under the existing zoning. At the hearing, 3 neighbors spoke in favor of the request. 1 neighbor submitted a letter of opposition. Detailed review findings and additional information is attached to the item. So at this time, let's see here. I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Ramirez, is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, and I truly understand all of your concerns. I met with a few of the elderly, and I'm getting there myself, but I understand their concerns as well. And I have a good relationship with them. I've done the maintenance over there at the building and mowed the lawns, took care of all that stuff for a year. They like the way it looks. I took care of it. I kept the lawn nice. I don't know her real name, but Pick, she lives right behind us. She is just glad somebody's doing something with that building, because for the first couple of years that we ran the daycare out of there, it was horrible. We didn't own it, so I didn't do any of the landscaping or anything on it. And I look forward to doing some of that there. I think it's going to be a plus for the community and for that zone itself. Parking-wise, I completely understand your whole thing. When it was a daycare, we had parents drop kids off quick and leave, and we made sure that they didn't park on that side of the street at all. We have a full parking lot that'll hold 30 vehicles, 30, 40 vehicles. It's off the street. It's not going to be late at night. The last time that I will accept will be probably 6 o'clock. I can get that in writing. So the facility itself will be closed down by at least 8, if no later than that. Because again, I'm going to be running it. I feel when you start business, you have to be there. You have to do all the stuff and get understood on how to do it. So I'll be there a lot, and I'm going to want to go home at 8. So the main thing that we do, me and my wife have always done, we have been charitable. We find everything we can. There might be little things, but there's something. Not every child has the opportunities. Maybe their parents don't support certain things, or they don't have the funds to do it, that takes the equipment to do it. I'm trying to put a stop to that. I'm trying to help out some kids that I can in the community, and I don't know what else to say. We're doing our best, and we're doing everything by the laws, everything legal, and we will continue to do that. I promise. I promise everyone will continue to do that. I know at the other meeting there were some folks that seen some pictures. I have some pictures. If anybody would like to see those of the work I've done in there. Again, I did it all myself because that's how you start a business. There's a scholarship thing I'm looking at doing for the Oski youth, the Indian golf team, that will include, I'll have to go about it the right way and figure out how to exactly do it, but a $500 scholarship towards equipment for the person with the highest GPA on the team. So to me, grades are great. I played high school sports. I played college baseball. Grades are great, but that doesn't last forever. Sports does not last forever. So I want these kids to focus on their education more so than just, I'm great at this and that's it. So that's the goal. I'm also working with William Penn, trying to work with William Penn. I'm waiting to set up meetings with them to see what I find out with this situation. It'd be a great practice facility for the William Penn students. I know I've had a couple of Steve Tucker's sons have been over to play a little bit. They love it. They said it's perfect. All they have is the net. So they can hit the ball any way they want. They don't know what it's going to do. This is the top of the line simulator. It has driving ranges, putting ranges, chipping ranges. It has everything you need to focus on your game. And I'm getting older, so I've kind of been playing every day myself a little bit. Kind of fun. Sincerely, I understand all your concerns about the zoning, the committee, and everything. Right across the street is zoned for business. Our buildings here, there's a street. That side of the street is zoned for business. So I honestly don't feel that it's stepping too far out of boundary for what the necessary needs of what I'm using the building for. Mike was here. We donate 2 large rooms to Mike and the breakfast kitchen. He cooks breakfast there once a month for the needy, I should say. I'll never take that from him. We don't charge him any money for that. I will not charge money for that. He helps a lot of people with clothing this time of year with coats and warmth and food. So we try to give back what we can. You know, we don't have millions of dollars, but we don't need millions of dollars either. So I don't know. I would appreciate questions. I might be able to answer some of your questions better.
So I have a couple questions. So the parking, there wouldn't be on-street parking because there's that parking lot to the north of the building. The hours would be no later than, you'd be closed by 8.
Yeah.
And then how many days of the week would that be?
It'd be 7 days.
7 days a week. And the alcohol or food?
Well, I wanted it just to be BYOB because I'm a recovering alcoholic and don't want to get into the selling it or any of that stuff. I want to have no part of it. It's doing that. But I don't know if you've all golfed at all.
I'm a golfer.
Yeah, see, a lot of guys, they like to bring a couple beers, drink a couple beers, and they golf. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I have a very strong willpower, so it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me when people turn around me.
I think for me, for BYOB, for the business, I got an 18 and a 21-year-old. Obviously, my 21. I think the BYOB thing would be, how are you going to control that? How are you going to regulate that? How do you know? How do you know I'm not 21? I know I'm not. I'm just.
I've done many years of security in the bar industry in Davenport, Iowa, Rock Island. I can spot a fake ID, and I'm very. There's also a system you can purchase and check it where they swipe their ID when they come in the door. And it takes a picture of that. It is a, which I've seen it. They've had some that have passed that screen, but very, very, very few. And that's something I would also do and incorporate. I don't want minors getting drunk. I have 9 grandchildren, and that is the reason I stopped drinking. Because I want to see them grow up. I set my priorities to my grandchildren.
So,
And my wife. She's sweet too.
so changing that to having no BYOB, does that influence your business plan?
It would, because
I mean, is that a deal breaker?
There are people that just want a beer or two. You know, I'm not going to be, if, I didn't even want to apply for a liquor license, but the insurance company said I had to.
Yeah,
Because
that's
if
what I
I was
would
going
say.
to be BOE, I have to have a liquor license, which I will not be selling liquor. There won't be any liquor. Any,
According to the state of Iowa, are not required to have a beer license. The only reason we got that was because of the insurance.
Right.
So the state of Iowa, we talked to them and said that if it is a BYOB, you do not need a actual license unless you are selling it.
I'm just wondering, as a mother sending my 16-year-old, I would feel safe about sending my 16-year-old to a place that's BYOB. I don't know.
Right, well, we would definitely be
And I don't want to go along.
Right.
Well,
We would definitely be
Yeah.
ID before.
Yeah.
any
So
other-
one practical question, and I'm okay. You're kind of. Have you bought this building, or are you still
own the
renting?
building.
So when did you buy the building?
2 years ago.
2020,
So you didn't own it when you had a daycare there?
I did own it.
She did, and then we purchased the building. So she actually
Okay.
had it when Mike owned it.
Because you said you didn't do the landscaping because I didn't own the building when it was a daycare. I got a little
Right.
Oh, that was
confused.
when it
When
was
she
legal.
purchased it, I started doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, but before you let the landscaping go?
Well, we didn't own the building.
They didn't own the building.
But still, that's part of the daycare. Okay.
Well, and I also had a current job that I had to 10 hours.
No, I know, that's just an excuse,
No.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's a safety factor, again, for children.
Oh, I understand completely.
So Sean, I'll ask Sean this question. What, you mentioned in the notes that the mayor read, that you reached out to, what could you do in this building? So we have a couple of these buildings in town that are this way. What can be done in these buildings besides educational daycare type stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. These old schools, former churches, and similar buildings, these civic buildings, are always difficult for adaptive reuse when they're no longer used for the original purpose and you try to find a new use for them. And we're in a point of transition right now when we adopted the new comprehensive plan, but we still have the old zoning code and the old zoning map that you see here. So we'll be redoing this zoning map citywide here within the next 6 months.
How will that affect the situation?
Well, we'll have to determine, and I think how we address it will be based on your decision here today. My advice to you would be a couple of things, is if you vote to approve this rezoning, I would encourage you to ask us to follow up with a request to revise the comprehensive plan, because all of our zoning decisions do need to be based on the comprehensive plan.
So when the comprehensive plan was done, was there any thought given to how we reuse these civic buildings?
Yeah. So I think a lot of what they are proposing could actually be accommodated within the zoning they have today. So my biggest concern is by zoning it commercial, it opens up the door to a lot of other things that may not be as accommodating there as what they're proposing. So things like restaurants, taverns, car sales, vehicle storage, all sorts of things that may not fit into that neighborhood. So he's right that it is across the street from commercial zoning, but it's entirely surrounded by residential. Unfortunately, we can't zone this conditionally based on what they're proposing here today. But what we could accommodate would be, I believe the simulator, working with kids, we can accommodate nonprofits. They could do a private social club there as well. We could issue memberships to people to use that facility. And I've already discussed some ideas with them on what we could and could not accommodate.
Do any of those include alcohol?
Well, I would say no. Now the code isn't real clear on that. So my response to that is the city would not be able to sign off on a liquor license if requested by the state due to zoning. But if they want people to allow people to bring their own beer into the facility, we wouldn't stand in the way of that, just like we wouldn't if someone wanted to go to your house or to a church or to another facility. But if we're presented with a formal request, then I think we would need to object to that.
I just know that, I know of another situation in town where a business person tried to purchase a house next to their existing structure, and they were going to tear that house down, which at the time needed to be tore down, so they could expand. It would have been a huge improvement, but zoning wouldn't allow that to happen. And we tried every way to Sunday to make that happen and couldn't make it work. I just felt bad for the situation because it would have been an improvement for our community. And so I'm always trying to figure out. And so let me put something out there. I don't drink. So, you know, I don't care about your alcohol, but I do understand that golfers like to drink. And I golf too, right? Okay, but not very well, but I do. And so I get what you're talking about. I have a couple of concerns. I have some golfers don't know when to stop drinking, right? And that bothers me a little bit. And I don't know, you say you didn't want anything to do with the alcohol, but in the next sentence you're going to card people when they come in. So I'm not sure which way that's going to be. I don't know how you're going to control. Let me tell you something. If I voted for this, I'd haunt you until you died if you made that neighborhood. I'm just telling you, I don't know how you're going to control the alcohol piece. It's just what you're concerned about.
Yep,
right.
If you can figure out how to do that, I'm willing to talk to you about it because I like your idea. The parking thing is I think that you're never going to have more traffic there than was there when there was a school there.
No.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen, right? I mean, yeah, let's get real. Well, when there was a school there had to be.
Well, there's teachers, that parking lot was full with teachers.
Yeah. So the traffic part's not an issue,
Well-
but how do we work with somebody, and I don't know if we can here or not, I don't have any idea, but I would love to be able to, I do have the concern, Sean, I don't want it to be a car lot. I don't want it to be some of that other stuff. And what happens when, God forbid that you fell over dead in 2 weeks, then what happens? Because anybody could do whatever they wanted there if we zone it, right? I mean, all of a sudden they're not what you are. There's somebody else that makes it. That's my concern too, as we open it up to.
And then,
And there's no way around that. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah,
because
there
there is the eyesore too. I mean, it appears there's RVs being stored.
That's my children's. It's only there for the winter.
Okay.
So they
Private
go
property.
streets and make sure.
I mean, I don't want to, I've got a neighbor who's got his RV and I've got to put up.
well, but that's a
fence.
zone. I mean, if he's not breaking the law, then you can't really blame it on him, right?
Right.
I mean,
Well, no, but
It's
if
private property.
other people think it's a business,
Yeah,
if
right.
it's
Oh.
your children, then that's a different.
Yeah.
And if you own the building, that's a communications,
The one-
yeah, right. But so he's not breaking the law.
Right, but if
Yeah.
my neighbor was putting in 5 RVs
No, I
and
understand-
charging
no, I
people,
understand that.
that's
I
a
understand.
wrong,
So-
I wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
we
I wanted to
were
clarify
this
that
summer,
too.
And that's
So,
my children's from Newton. They would always camp in Keoma, and they live in Newton.
Yeah.
So they just drive down, take
Yeah.
them, take the camp.
So in your conversation with
it doesn't
Sean,
make friends in the neighborhood.
did you guys come up with any
I'm very
alternatives?
picky on how I look to others, so I pay attention. I don't want to be the eyesore of the community.
Yes, we talked about having a private club.
Okay.
If it didn't get rezoned.
And that would be acceptable to you folks?
Ma'am, could you step closer to the microphone?
She's shy.
No, she's not.
I mean,
Seems
I
like
think,
she can hold her own.
I guess my
Yeah, because Steve, I think we have the same questions.
Yeah.
The current zoning is R2.
yeah.
The future zoning, proposed zoning is medium-density residential. Is that right, Sean?
Yes.
So if they're not serving alcohol, if it's a private club, I guess, how could they operate their simulators and the activities that they want to do? Is there a way for them to do that under the current zoning without us turning it into commercial, which again is my biggest concern. Earl, you and I talked on the phone about it. I love the idea.
Me too.
But my concern, Steve alluded to it, is that if you aren't operating there anymore and it's commercial, then what ends up there?
Well-
Now, the urban corridor that is that block and all the way up North Market, I find that an interesting zoning, because what is that whole corridor besides fins and things? And then the old gas station. It's all residential. Why is it a commercial district?
You
So
can do anything you want to do, right? Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are the options, or can they do, if alcohol wasn't a piece of it?
Well,
What is-
but
what
I
does
think
that
they're
option
saying,
make it?
I think they're saying that they don't have a business model without alcohol of some
Mm-hmm.
type.
What we do, I don't want to get a liquor license, so that's put up to. As far as alcohol goes, so be it. I'm gonna have a lot of people that aren't gonna want to donate any causes, obviously, that are out there that we can reach, because just because you drink alcohol doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
You know, as far as over usage of it, there's a tea time. If some of you could see the pictures, there's not enough room in there for more than 10 people at a time.
Right.
I mean, and that's when I get the chipping and putting room all set up next to it. So you can only play 4 golf.
Well, no, I love the idea. What I would like to say is that we could get. I would hope we could sit down somewhere at a table and come up with something that works for everybody. That's what I'd like to be able to think we could do. So,
Sean, what is
what is the issue at hand? I think the issue came up in discussion related because of the conversation about the liquor license and such, but what is the issue, the core issue that would prevent them from using this facility for the golf simulators?
So it's the residential zoning that allows for residential uses and then civic type uses, and whatever they're proposing need to fall within that parameter, if you will. So
Okay.
there's some gray area as we're
So the
seeing
social
here,
club fits
but
in that.
We have to somehow distinguish between what's a business use and what's a residential or civic use.
Okay,
Under
thank you.
civic, we do allow for social clubs, private clubs, nonprofits, churches, schools, training facilities, things of that nature. So I gave them, we've already sat down, I've given them an entire list of what they can do within the current zoning. And I've asked them to respond with a list of what they're proposing to use the building for. And we're still working through that today.
So technically, he's really, if you look at it, is really a training facility.
That's what we're hoping
Yeah.
to
Okay?
be.
Yeah, because
And
yeah.
the other concern I had, which some of you mentioned already, if you fold up, okay, let's say we did rezone this, and I'm sure we can do this. If their business was to fold up and it was under UC, I know we could put this in writing somewhere to revert back to R2. There's ways around doing things.
No, well,
No,
It has to be.
it doesn't say that
We'd
now.
have to recode it. We'd have to go back in and do.
I know, it'd be an
code
action.
change, right? Yeah.
It would be, but still, it's in writing to revert back to R2.
That's kind of like conditional.
Right. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you run into an insurance issue if you do that.
Why?
Because you would have a situation where you have a business that is zoned a certain way. They have a fire.
Right.
Reconstruction, if it's a total loss,
I know,
zoning would revert back and you're not able to build.
it really is.
That's
That would happen no matter
under
what.
a grandfather situation.
Oh, okay.
A legal nonconformity, I can see that.
Yeah.
But if, you know, just to say his business just folds up, you know, they close up, what's the difference? Revert back to R2.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a way to do that. So we're talking-
And there's probably nothing in writing saying how you can do that, because zoning is all what we build it to be,
Yeah.
right? Same thing with the comp plan.
But it also sounds like, too, what you want to do with the scholarships and the training and the high schools and the colleges and doing all of that, you've got a really nice model for civic training. I think you're kind of operating under the premise, like, if we stop smoking in bars, people are going to leave the bars. They didn't.
That's true.
You know, the BYOB, you know, you can have a couple afterwards and brag up your scores, and that could be done at another place. You know, but if you get an image, you know, this is a nice, safe, classy place that you can do this, I think you might be better off going the civic route. You know,
Also, we were looking
I would
at-
feel better if my kids wanted to go down there. I'd like, sure, you know.
Well, if they set a tea time, then they wouldn't be golfing with people that are drinking.
Right. But I mean, you're muddying your message. Your message needs to be really, really clear. If you want this to be civic-minded, scholarships, high schoolers,
For
you know,
training.
training
Yeah.
in that, I think that's where most of your money is.
But I really hate to rezone it.
And that way you're going to have a much better image with the neighbors, all of that. You know, I think you're worrying about this part. It's not going to be all that much money. People can drink all sorts of places. Right. So
That's not why I'm doing it.
I wouldn't do it.
Well,
I'd make your life.
It will, because more people come to donate money to help.
You think? You think?
Wouldn't go if they can.
I mean, there's a lot of people giving to charities who don't drink at all.
I think so. I mean, we go to I mean,
So,
Do they not allow alcohol?
so we're still in the public hearings
Sorry.
arena here. And I think this is a useful conversation, but I want to make sure you've got the opportunity. Is there anything else you want us to know?
You had something to hand out.
I
Can
do,
I see what you have?
I've already given these to Sean.
Is that the one that's next to
Just by his plan.
Yes.
But our intentions are on the building.
I believe not. It
Hands up,
Yeah.
we are rezoned, and if we do not get rezoned, the two different options.
I'd like to have one, girl, please.
And I can also, I can pass around the pictures. I did all the work myself, so I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Thanks, Evan. Okay, thank you.
Got two left? Perfect. And you got to share?
You're a Steelers fan?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know about this then, so, huh? No, it's your email Steelers.
Yeah, it's not been a good year.
It's okay. I'm a Bears fan. I get it.
So any further comments on the handout, or?
No, I guess it's pretty well self-explanatory. And also the gym, it's a nice gym. It's full court basketball, there's a stage. We let friends use it now for birthday parties, stuff like that. We have all the seating, chairs, tables. We would like to be able to use that also for a little extra income. And if it is a private club, it would be a meeting room and as such, and benefits. We can do benefits with the students. You know, serve dinners. I'm all that free.
That could fall under the R2, that type of activity. Yeah.
So we'd like to rent that, because right now, like families rent out, every year we rent out, we used to rent out a big house for the day with our whole family, and it got kind of pricey. You know, and I want to put a new kitchen in back there. There's already kind of one in there. I'm going to add some other stuff that I have to make it full access cooking, and everything you want to do. Families rent out $100 a day. You know, now we pay $600-700 a day for different places that we rent out for our families. So it's tough to get everybody in one house at a time. Worth it.
Oh, you said lockers. That's good.
18, yeah. So it gets kind of tough.
How's this look compared to the other one?
But I won't be able to do that.
It's here, but it's got a bar and a restaurant. I mean, you know, but it looks nice. It's got a nice.
No, he just said you could.
You could.
Yeah, you got to get a straight business
Yeah.
plan. I think you're muddying your own waters. Yeah, I think you could, and you could charge more. $100 is a steal.
Okay.
Any further comments?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Earl. Thank you.
You guys have a great evening.
You too.
You too? Okay, anyone else want to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council members, we need to have a motion regarding the rezoning request from R2 to UC.
How do you proceed if you want to continue to talk about it? Do you deny this one?
You would deny this one?
Okay.
This is just the first reading, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that needs to be 3.
Yeah.
If you deny it on the first reading,
Then it's done.
it's done.
Okay, if the majority.
But it can be brought back up again, correct? After
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
we do the details?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to go with the staff recommendation of denial.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, I think, I'll just make a comment as to why, again, Earl, Belinda, it's not that I'm against what you're trying to do. It's the actual rezoning that causes me concern longer term, especially with, as we've worked through that comprehensive plan, that whole area, actually how that whole area is, it just happens to be a school, which is in the middle of a residential neighborhood, which is what they were, right? So I have no issues with the proposed use if it can somehow fit within that, if you can find a way to work within that zoning, but I can't be in favor of rezoning it to commercial.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know we're going to come across this again because my husband just sold Webster, and so you wonder what they're going to turn that school into too. So this might be a discussion that we're going to have for someone else coming down the road too. So I think it's a great. I think there's some real possibilities here, and I think it's a great idea. I'll be honest with you, I'm torn about it because I'm a golfer, and I think we need things for people to do in this community. I've been saying that since I ran for council, so I'll be honest with you, I'm torn about it one way or the other.
Any further comments?
Well, and I like the social club aspect. To be honest, I think you could have a more viable business and more profitable business going that route, with just some business planning and clarification and that, as well as the venue, if you've got that venue for family gatherings, and that. And I would even test your market. I think, there's more ways to make money here, keeping the current zoning. I think that's the win-win part, and then if it gets sold, whatever, later on, you're still in that same zoning. Someone else could do another type of social venue.
I'm torn as well because, like Rhonda, and Bob, I play golf. I played at Penn for a year, and we didn't have any place to really practice. And nets come down, and we had to drive to Des Moines if we wanted to go to any type of simulator, and that's really expensive. And to have something like this in our town would be really beneficial, not just to all the community, but the golf teams. I think that could really benefit, but I'm torn with the rezoning. That's a really hard decision. So.
Any other comments? So the motion is for denial. Roll call, please.
Hermson?
Yes.
Ocean?
Yes.
Almond?
No.
Burnett?
Yes.
Calgary?
Yes.
Drost?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Moving on to item B. This is a presentation and discussion regarding a police canine proposal. Lieutenant Plum has purchased a young German Shepherd, seemingly suitable for canine use. He wishes council to consider allowing the animal to be trained for possible use as a secondary Oskaloosa Police Department canine. Action items would include signing the animal over to the city and insuring the animal through the existing insurance policy. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is probably going to be relatively short because we're asking not so much for money, but for permission at this point in time. Lieutenant Plum, who's served here for 29 years with our community, he's our longest serving police officer, kind of came up with a new hobby, and he's interested in making it more than a hobby, so he's going to present to you tonight, and we're excited to have him here.
All right. So I know most of you. For those that don't know me, I've actually been here 29 years today. So I had our first police canine for Oskaloosa, and I worked with him for 7 years. Had a lot of good success with him in the community, with public relations to drug fines, apprehensions, all kinds of things. So that's a picture of him up there. I figured he might bark too much in his life.
He's very well behaved.
He is. So, and just a little bit about him. The people I got him from, they had a rabbit and they had a child. And so he loves kids and loves animals, which is good. So it's just a benefit of him already being used to that. Right now I'm assigned to our investigations unit. My prior assignments, done just about everything that's out there. So I've been on patrol, I've worked on a drug task force, I supervised the task force. When we looked at getting the first dog, we looked at getting one that was already trained or sending me to Minneapolis where you get a dog that has no training and you have no training and you live there and train the dog as you're learning. So that's what we did. It was longer, it was more expensive, but it really helped in regards to knowing why your dog's doing what he's doing because you were there from the beginning. I worked with Quest 7 years, like I said. After that, and actually I looked, and it was 10 years after that, I decided that I wanted a second dog. And I had been promoted to lieutenant at the time, and we already had a dog. So I hit up the chief, and actually I went and got another dog, and did the training myself, and went ahead and certified him through the same certifications that the other people use. Right now our canines are assigned on night shift, so we've got a county one, and we've got a city one, and they seem to bid night shifts. So during the day, there's a lot of times that we really don't have one available. The night shift works 12-hour shifts, So it's kind of hard to call them out at noon to do something that may not really be needed. And if we've got a dog, they're on days, it would just be a lot more simpler. The opportunity presented itself. I've been looking for dogs for quite a while, and you do some different testing with them for play drive and just different things that I've been looking at several. Finally found this dog that was up for adoption, and I went ahead and got him. He's not certified, he doesn't have any papers. That was one thing that was neat about Minneapolis PD is they took nothing but donated dogs. So my first dog had no papers. Most people pay around $5,000 to $8,000 to have them imported. And after getting out of that school, I went to a 3-state competition with some of the people that I trained with. And we won the 3-state competition. And everybody wanted to know where we purchased our dog. I'm like, about a pound. They didn't want to believe that, but it's true. One thing with dogs being present, it helps with preventing lots of things. There's a lot of people that I've worked with over the years that have said, I would have fought the police in a second, but when you got that dog out, I'm not doing it. So that is one thing that just the mere presence of one seems to help. And then also when they know you've got a certified narcotics dog, they seem to become more honest when they actually see the dog itself. So that's something to think about. For community relations, kids love canines. I could walk into a store now and have a few people talk to me. I walk in with my dog and just about everybody will talk to me. I really socialize the dogs that I have, so they're usually with me wherever I'm at. So we let the kids pet them and people get to know them. The annual training cost to do this is going to be very minimal. When you look at setting up a canine program, one of the huge costs is the police car. So I actually am already assigned, now being in investigations, I'm assigned to a take-home car. So that's not going to be a cost that we're going to have to incur. I talked with the vet clinic, and Teresa Carmichael took care of my first dog for me. And I just wanted an estimate or an idea as to what it would cost for vet care and food. And the answer to that is she's willing to donate it all.
Wow, good for her. She's great. She's a great lady.
Yeah.
So that was awesome to find that out. So right now, I've done the testing with him. He's well motivated. He seems to be doing very well. Likes people. His total cost, I gave the people that I adopted him from $150. That's what they wanted. To move forward with training, I've done as much testing as I can really do at this point, so I need to get to training with some other trainers, which does put the dog out there and exposes it to the public more, and other officers and things like that. So I think the next point where we're at is just getting permission to use the dog from the council, and just seeing how it goes. I can't guarantee he's going to make it, and that's one thing that you just never know. We have some dogs that just don't make it, and if they don't make it, they don't make it. But for this dog, I'm not going to do anything different than what we do for our canine now in our department. So he'll have to go through the same certifications and things that ours do now, or he won't make it, and I'll take him out of the program. The annual projected cost is going to be well less, I'm sure, than $1,000 a year. So we have, there's an organization called Dogs for Law Enforcement, and that's who our county and city go through. They have an annual training that's like $400 a year that they go for a week and do training. So to throw another dog out there for us and just put him out available would actually be very beneficial. I just don't really see much of a cost involved in it. Didn't have any issues with my first dog, so we got along just fine and had some great finds and stuff. So the thing I've got now is just to ask you if you have any questions, please ask.
I got a couple, John.
I'll try and answer them.
Austin, my neighbor guy, so how old is his dog? Current dog, I know.
5.
5. And what's a typical What's a typical dog? Like 5 years, 7 years? What, I mean,
7.
about 7. Okay, and how old is this dog you're getting?
A year and 6 months.
Oh, so a year and a
7
half.
months.
Okay.
He-
All right. That's not, nope.
Nope, go ahead.
No, we were talking earlier when you were talking about it, because I didn't know how long, how long's his dog been in service?
5.
So he's getting close, okay. That
Usually
answers.
with shepherds, they have hit problems.
Yep.
So that by
So he-
the time of riding around the back of a police
So
car,
your dog coming on will be about the time that his dog, or hopefully your dog coming on will be about the time his dog's, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yep, thank you.
Is that the picture of your dog?
That is.
Okay, so the breed is it?
He's German Shepherd and Malinois.
Oh, okay. And then the other question I had too, and there was an incident, I think in Newton. The vehicle that you have, is it equipped, there's emergency capabilities, so the dog doesn't overheat in case you run off from a call or things like that. Is your vehicle already equipped to handle a dog?
No, it's not. My first car way back when I had Quest was called the dog system.
Okay.
And what it was designed to do is once the temperature gets so hot in your car, it will roll your windows down and start honking your horn. Which that is something, if he certifies, that is something that probably I would be asking for. And
Okay.
that's probably
Yeah.
$1,000.
Because there's some that turn on the air conditioning and things like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing, yeah.
And they also have ones that'll like page you or call you.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll call your phone now probably.
Yeah, they said they could do that in all cars for children, so.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Any other questions about Rocky?
My question was similar. I just was curious if there was a difference in a K-9 unit vehicle than a normal vehicle. That's all I was wondering. It sounds like that was answered, so. Is that the only adaptation you make, really? Is that for the dog?
Pretty much, yeah. He's gonna live at home with me, and the contract that I wrote up was that, or I had Dave. Dave's actually, he's met Rocky. So, so I had him write up the contract that basically says I would turn him over to the city and let him be city owned until he retires or I retire or he doesn't work out.
Well, we could do something, Dr. Carmichael is my vet too. And when you go through the grocery store, they ask you, would you like to ring it up for an extra such and such? We could do like a voluntary, registration of your dog. Would you like to donate $2, which goes to the K9? And as much money as I'm spending there, I would, yeah, sure, gladly. So we might want to just initiate a voluntary kind of fundraiser, and people would be happy with that.
I actually have already.
People spend money on their dogs like you wouldn't believe.
I had 2 people that have saw me with it, just doing a little bit of testing with them, and
Yeah.
I had a lady out at Giddens Park bowling, and she's like, hey, tell me about him? So I told her the story, and I said, I'm just doing a little training and stuff, see what he's gonna do. And she's like, well, I want to donate to him. And I said,
Yeah.
well, he's not got a job yet. So
He fits right in.
But honestly, I think that would be, and also too, dogs are great PR for law enforcement,
Yeah, really.
They really,
Conversation.
yeah, 'cause and also that idea too, like when you're standing in customs and you see those beagles go through, if you're carrying a banana, you're sunk, let alone something else.
To climb a ladder and slide down the slide at school. Kids enjoyed that.
Yeah, but just a PR aspect that's worth the money.
Thanks, John, good luck with him. Well, keep us in touch.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the action would be to accept as presented Lieutenant Blums.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I would like to meet him someday.
Yeah.
Just not today.
Scheduling an appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come to you.
Yeah. I used to have to read John's meters through binoculars when you had your one dog. He wouldn't let me in your yard, but that was his job, though, too. So.
But I would like to see some kind of voluntary
remember his
fundraising. I know
first
that when they
20
talked about
22 years
raising
ago.
money for the first K9, they said they shot the budget. They had enough dog food for years. They had this, they had that. So, might as well,
There's also a program that we can apply for. It's a grant. I'm told that everybody that applies for it gets it. But it's a bullet and stab resistant vest for him.
Nice.
Oh.
And then it comes along with medical insurance
Okay.
for the dog.
Yeah.
So that's something I would be
Yeah.
applying for. Maybe think of donations.
Yeah.
We started doing the it was the fundraiser for the animal shelter. It's called the Radar Run. So
Yep,
I would go
yep.
out and
I brought my
radar the
dog.
dogs.
Yep, I brought my dog.
And I did a demonstration after that, and the lady walked up and said, do you have a vest for him? I said, no, I don't. She's like, well, what do they cost? And I said, they're expensive. They're like, because they could be up to like $5,000.
Oh.
And before she left, she wrote a check for
Oh, cool.
the vest. To go
Yeah,
get the vest.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, don't ignore this. This is like great PR and fundraising.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Opportunity for reports on items from city staff. City manager, anything?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. City clerk, anything?
no sir, thank you.
Okay, city attorney?
No, thank you.
Okay. Let's see, let's go around the table. Okay, starting with Lisa, anything to report on or comments?
I hit a milestone birthday 2 days after Christmas, so that was nice. I did want to say Rotary has a program where you go read to children, and it's about 2 weeks ago I did that. I was reading to the second graders, and I told them, I said, you're citizens, I'm on city council, what would you like to see us do? And it was quite a unanimous, they want a water park. But maybe a splash pool? I don't know. But I encourage them to come, so
Okay.
that's how Charlie got here.
Okay. Joe?
No, nothing.
Okay.
On behalf of Main Street and Chamber, I'd just like to thank everyone for shopping local and continue to do that through 23 as well.
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Rhonda?
I'd just like to thank our city guys for the great cleanup and removal of the snow. I thought they did a great job. I don't know if you had to tow very many cars, but I thought they did a great job getting out and getting around. Good, great.
Very good. Okay, Steve?
No, sir, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. And I've got nothing to add other than what's already been spoken here. I really appreciate the city services, and especially through the Christmas season. I thought that the community showed very, very well as far as having the lights in the downtown, the buzz, all of the visitors coming to town, just the way everything came together. So congratulations to the Chamber on an excellent job done, but also to all the citizens of Oskaloosa who behaved. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.